Hi, glad you can be with us for the show along with Karl Ravech. I'm Linda Cohn. In Montreal, there's nothing better than what the Canadians are experiencing at the moment. Another Stanley Cup victory for those Habs.
Yes, but it comes at the expense of the Kings, and the question facing the greatest king of all is what to do now. Will Wayne's future world consist of hockey? The answer in a moment. First, the NBA and the tip-off of the finals in Phoenix. MJ and company trying to soar in the land of the Suns. And finally, folks, we got a game to talk about. The Bulls and Suns. No more gambling, no more Madonna. Charles Barkley said he would cancel out Michael in this one. He already replaced him as the league's MVP, but Charles has never been in an NBA final. Michael has. Not only has he been there, he's owned them. The last two championship series, MJ has been the MVP, and never has he been so committed to winning a championship than he is now. Let's go see what happens. The Suns looking to be the bullfighters. That's a lot easier said than done. Jordan, the nice bounce pass to Horace Grant. He hit on 5 and 9, and the Bulls by 10. Scottie Pippen, great pass. Good hands by Scott Williams for the layup. The Bulls by 20. Things not looking good for Paul Westphal. Suns do come back. Barkley, Oliver Miller. Miller had only 6. The Bulls by 11 at the break. More Suns in the third quarter. Frank Johnson played a solid 9 minutes. Dan Marley hit only 1 of 4 from long range. KJ misses. Richard Dumas is there for the monster jam. He scored 20 in 42 minutes. The Bulls lead is only 4 after 3. Fourth quarter, Chicago shines. MJ, the hanging left-hander, 14 of his 31 in quarter number 4. Scottie Pippen, the hanging right-hander. 27 points for Scottie. B.J. Armstrong, same spot he killed the Knicks with a 3. He does it again. B.J. also dished out 5 assists. Scottie finishes it off, hit on 12 of 20. A rude awakening to the NBA Finals for Charles and company. They lose 100-92. The Bulls 15 and 1 in the postseason series when they win the first game. Jordan's 31 points, moving him past Elgin Baylor on the all-time playoff scoring list. He's now 6th. Following the game, MJ took the microphone and talked about the win.
It is behind me, and it's all about making history now, basketball-wise. I just felt that I was at peace with myself, and I knew what my motives were, and that's to play the game of basketball. Everything else is irrelevant right now.
Yeah, I thought I got some good shots. They just didn't go in. I didn't play well. And I think if I don't play well, I think sometimes the team feeds on that. So I did not play well, and I guess I'll take responsibility for tonight.
Once again, in a supporting role, Scottie Pippen starred, averaging 19 in the regular season against the Suns. He turns it up. Once criticized for being soft, he has been banging the boards. 27 points in Game 1, and it could have been more. He was only 3 of 9 from the stripe. Linda?
Welcome to Sports Center, along with Karl Ravech. I'm Chris Fowler. We'll get to the Hitchcock part of the program later on. The Suns had their backs up against the cacti, living on the edge after losing Game 1 of the finals. Phoenix looking for KJ and Charles to step up big Friday, Karl.
They would need a big effort from both of those guys if they were going to stop the stampeding Bulls. You know, Chicago has won 5 straight. Would they continue? Game 1 of this series could be summed up in a word: nerves. The Bulls showed that experience does pay. The Suns' lack of it cost them. Charles Barkley said playing Game 1 was like going on a first date. Both he and his teammates hoping their second soiree with the Bulls would lead to at least a 5-game relationship. Throughout the postseason, Michael has talked all about making history. Well, the Bulls' win in Game 2 would be historical, as no road team has ever won the first 2 games of an NBA Final. Charles Barkley has been a one-man wrecking crew. KJ can't handle the pass. Charles says, all right, I'll do it myself. Against Horace Grant, he goes baseline. He had 25 in the first half. The Bulls would return fire. B.J. to Horace for the stuff on Barkley. Grant, 10 of 13. The Bulls worked a give and go. Pippen to Jordan, nice dish to Grant, 45-39. Horace had 24, and Charles was fired up in search of support. Tom Chambers misses. Barkley, the offensive rebound. He had 13 boards. Then from the top of the key, it's Barkley on Stacey King. He hit 10 of 12 from the line, and the Suns trail 6 at the half, 59-53. Then it's Jordan losing the ball. Marley takes it in, uses his left hand. He scored 13, and the Suns are down 1. Phil Jackson wants his team to step up, and they do on D. KJ drives. It's blocked by Williams. Armstrong the other way. Off the glass, the Bulls up 87-84 after 3. Barkley trying to get the rebound, goes down hard. Will it stop him? Nothing would. Through the Bulls defense for the bucket, and the Suns lead 91-89, but here comes MJ from BJ. The hoop and the foul. Jordan 18 of 36. The Bulls by 6. He scores 42. the fake, and the pop. It's 106-98 Chicago. 29 to go, and Scotty in Danny's face for the block. This is the second game in a row. Charles leaves shaking his head. The final, 111-108. MJ missing the triple-double by only one. Along with his 42 points, he grabbed 12 rebounds, dished out 9 assists. Charles Barkley was the Phoenix Suns. He matched Michael's 42, also grabbed 13 boards. Scottie Pippen had a triple-double, 15 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists. This loss was the 12th in 13 home games by the Western Conference champion since '88. The Bulls trying to join the Celtics and Minneapolis Lakers as the only team to win 3 state titles. I've said it before. Have you ever seen Michael so motivated, so determined? In Game 2, he's second to none, nearly averaging a triple-double. In Game 3, Game 2, Chicago is 2-1. For more on Game 2, we traveled to Phoenix, handed over to Dan, Dr. Jack, and company who were there to listen to Charles defend Kevin Johnson.
If you're going to boo Kevin Johnson or give him a hard time if he's struggling, please don't come to the game, because we don't need you. If you're not going to be with us through the good times and the bad times, we don't want you here.
I said my predicting days are over. I said that at the time, so don't expect me to predict anything. But I will predict that the Bulls need to continue to play as great as they're playing to beat us.
Their backs are to the wall. They're like a scratching cat right now. And we have to keep them cornered if we can. Make them take shots that they probably very hesitant of taking. Make other players step up when they're, it's not really their roles to step up.
Well, we haven't heard the fat lady yet, so it's not over. We have to go into Chicago at home and win 2 more ball games. Then you can say it's over.
Talk about stepping up, Michael Jordan, averaging nearly that triple-double in Game 2s of the NBA Finals. For more on Game 2, let's head to Phoenix and hand it over to Dan, Dr. Jack, and the rest of the crew.
Thank you, Carl. Welcome back to the America West Arena. 2 down, 2 to go for the Chicago Bulls. Hall of Fame coach Dr. Jack Ramsay rejoins us. And you said prior to the start of this series, whichever team got the more consistent play out of their 2 All-Stars was going to win. We've seen that with the Bulls. That's why they're up 2 games to none.
And the Suns have not gotten it from both guys. Charles Barkley had a monster game tonight, but again, Kevin Johnson leaves a lot to be desired. Actually, in these 2 games, he's had more turnovers than assists. That's not the job of the point guard. And they haven't gotten into the transition game that allows him to use his skills best.
You talked to Phil Jackson after Game 2. He basically told you what their game plan is with KJ.
Yeah. B.J. Armstrong does a terrific job on KJ, making him work at the perimeter. When he gets into the basket area, the Bulls' big men are coming to obstruct his path to the hoop at a time when he can't make the pass, must commit to the shot, and they're getting a piece of the shot or making it tough for him to get all the way to the basket.
Dr. Jack, thank you. Coming up, Michael Jordan will join us here at the America West Arena. Dr. Jack, I'm Dan Patrick. Now back to you.
Next.
Strap yourselves in. Charles as a woman, and a lot more ahead in the 60-minute Sports Center. Along with Keith Olbermann, I'm Chris Fowler.
The name was invoked at about 9:20 prevailing local time Sunday night. Garfield Hurd, not the interim coach of the Dallas Mavericks of 92-93, but Garfield Hurd in his previous incarnation as the star of the Suns' triple overtime playoff game of '76. The Suns' other triple overtime playoff game?
You say that with a question in your voice? Yes, it was. Game 5, a Suns loss tonight. That belongs next to that one, I think, is one of the great games in NBA Finals history. With Charles Barkley's shooting elbow swollen to half the size of a basketball, their cause seemed even more hopeless. The only thing to do, play loose, let shots fly, and take their chances. What resulted was a 63-minute war, which left both sides staggered with exhaustion. Yes, the old Brick Barn on Madison, the scene for Game 3 tonight. The Suns appeared at home, though, in the 3rd quarter. Dan Marley awakening in the series, one of his many threes, and Paul Westphal's team had the lead after 3. It would grow. Barkley to Ainge, who buries the 3. Suns by 11 inside of 6 minutes to play. But the Bulls rally. The old off-the-back inbounds pass. Pippen with the dunk. Chicago back within 3. Next possession, Jordan to Horace Grant. Game tied at 101 with $1:33 to play. For the closing seconds of regulation, KJ strips Michael. The lead pass to Marley, who has a dunk. Wait a minute, you heard a whistle right there. Why? KJ called timeout after the steal. Westphal couldn't call it off in time. So in the closing seconds of regulation, Charles, a chance to win it, can't get it done. Bulls called timeout. Barkley, one more chance to win it, closing seconds, and then the mad scrum Two Suns fight for it. Ainge for the win, but it rims out. And Westfall agonizes. We go to second overtime, tied at 107. Marley, the big shot right there, ties it. We go to a third overtime, 114 apiece. In the third extra session, Marley, the deep three, buries it. Biggest shot of the game right there. Suns up by 1. Then the clincher. Stacey King will get the rebound, then make the awful pass in Barkley for the steal and the layup. The Suns crawling all over the floor with exhaustion and exuberance. 129-121 in 3 overtimes. The Bulls lead cut to 2-1, their first home loss in this year's playoffs. But they're now just 3-3 at home in the last 3 finals. 63 minutes, the Suns shoot 31 free throws. The Bulls shoot 9. Phil Jackson is snapped. I don't want to talk about it. Michael, 19 of 43 from the floor. He had 44 points. Barkley, 24 points, 19 rebounds on the bad elbow. Check out Kevin Johnson's turnaround. He played 62 of the 63 minutes, a new record for a finals game. He was 11 of 24 from the floor. Did a pretty good job on Michael Jordan defensively in the second half. Dan Marley, another star. 29 points in the first 2 games, 28 in game 3, 6 of 8, 6 3-pointers, ties a record for threes in a championship game, of which Jordan has his share. Back to KJ, decidedly more upbeat than after the first 2 games.
I read the papers, I saw the headlines today where my dream was becoming a nightmare, and the fans are leaving me in Phoenix. I saw that. When I got to Chicago, I was in the lobby, and a lot of people were cheering me. And at first, I thought they liked my game, but I guess they figured they liked the way I'd been playing in game 1 and 2, helping the Bulls.
Second half, obviously, they got off to a great start and kept going at it. And they got us in some confusion defensively, and it was a penetration. Johnson probably put us there. Finally, Michael took it on his shoulders to play him the rest of the way.
Man, Michael Jordan shot the ball 43 times. Damn. That's unbelievable. He gonna be icing his elbow too. Damn.
Charles called it the greatest game he's ever played in. The Bulls just lost their legs. They were just 8 for 29 from the floor in the fourth, 7 for 24 in the 3 overtime periods combined. They shot 30% after the third quarter. Never have 3 days off between games come at a better time, particularly for the Bulls. Now, a post-game report from Chicago and analysis from Jack Ramsey here a little bit later on in the show.
Welcome to Chicago Stadium, the oldest stadium in the league, and it looked like the same old story for the Phoenix Suns. They looked like they were in trouble on the verge of going down 3 games to none, and then Mr. 3, Dan Marley, steps up. Did you feel like you were letting it slip away at any point in this game?
Not really. We were fighting all the way through, and we got the lead, something we couldn't do in Phoenix, and we kind of held it, and they were just coming, throwing everything they had at us, and we just kept on fighting back. And then I think in the second overtime they had a 4-point lead, and we made some big plays and made some big shots to tie back up and got in the overtime and won the game.
Did you feel like, though, you had Ainge's jumper, didn't go, Charles had a jumper, didn't go, did you think Michael's not going to give you too many chances to win in his building? Yeah, we had some great looks at to win the game, but one thing we weren't going to do is let Michael win it for us. We were double-teaming him all the time down the stretch and making other people shoot the ball, and Scotty was hurting a little bit with his leg. I don't know exactly what the problem was, but we were trying to get him the ball, and it worked out. We finally got a shot to win it, and we were able to put a couple down and come away with the win. KJ wanted to guard Michael. He told Paul at the beginning of the series. Did it help you that KJ guarded Michael a little bit more tonight? I think so. It really helps when KJ, does that. It kind of takes away a little bit of Michael's quickness, and plus allows me to go down and double team. And I'm a little bit bigger than the rest of the guys as far as coming in double, and hopefully can disrupt some passes. So I thought KJ did a fantastic job on him. You can't do too much against Michael, but whatever it was, KJ did it. When you're camping out at the three-point line, you're already set. I mean, your teammates know you're always going to be there. Yeah, they know I don't step in too many times inside that three-point line. So with Charles in there and Tom taking it to the hole, they do a great job of finding me the ball, and tonight I was hitting the shot. Did your eyes get this big every time that you'd line up for a three? Pretty much. I got the confidence going. I hit a couple deep bombs again tonight, and when I hit those, I start feeling a little bit. So it's always, in those type of games, you just love to be out there playing and hitting those big shots. So it's just one of those games where you love to play in, and it came out our way, so it doesn't get any better than that. Now, I know you got a couple of days before Game 4. Are you exhausted now, or will it hit you tomorrow? No, I'm not too exhausted right now. I'm just happy, and tomorrow I'm going to take a break and go to the Cubs game, and then have a good time and practice and get ready for Wednesday. I know you want to say hello to your bar. Go on ahead and say
Yeah,
hello.
Marley's. I know you're rocking it tonight. We're going to try to bring you home another win, so keep it busy.
All right. Dan Marley, NBA record 6 3-pointers as the Phoenix Suns need a couple of overtimes to pick up the victory. Still down 2-1. For Dan Marley, I'm Dan Patrick. Now back to the studio.
All-star.
Yeah, when I talked to Kevin Johnson before Game 2, I asked him what his team needed to do. He said, 1, defensive intensity from start to finish. 2, he had to pull up and shoot the jumper. And thirdly, when he penetrated, his teammates had to spot up better. He got all 3 things tonight. Take a look. Here he drives past Trent Tucker and gets all the way to the basket on that one. And this time, Michael Jordan defending, pitch to Charles Barkley on the baseline. Charles knocks down the jumper. That kind of performance was tremendous by Kevin Johnson, and I'm happy for him because he took a lot of heat.
The Bulls, after the game, promised adjustments to post up Jordan if KJ defends him as he did in the second half, and also to do some things to cut off some of his penetration. Dr. Jack will be back a little bit later on as we take a more in-depth look at the game.
Position player by the Gents, but that distinction recently dropped, opening up the door for the dreaded and much hated Washington Redskins. Mike?
Wednesday night, Phoenix looks to add another chapter of history in this playoff series, the NBA Finals. The road team has never won the first 4 games of the finals. The road team had not won the first 3 before Sunday's triple OT win by Phoenix to get the series deficit to 2-1. On Monday, Michael wanted to rest and Charles wanted to talk. Our Dan Patrick recaps Monday at the finals.
Welcome to Chicago Stadium, where this city and their team had their champagne on ice in preparation for a possible sweep on Wednesday night. But now that they know there will be at least a Game 5 on Friday night, that ice being used for some battered bodies and perhaps some bruised egos. Speaking of the battered bodies, Charles Barkley, still bothered by the tender elbow, didn't shoot around on Monday, said he wouldn't shoot around on Tuesday, said he planned on shooting quite a bit on Wednesday. Charles called Game 3 the greatest he had ever played in, and he says a couple of decades from now, it will have taken on epic proportions.
25 years now, I'll be telling my daughter and my grandkids, honey, I barely could walk that morning. The doctor went in there, sewed my arm on, but it was ripped off in a tractor-trailer accident. They sewed my arm on, I barely could lift it above my knee. If I gained time, I was able to get those rebounds and score those points. I had to talk the doctor into playing. He wasn't going to let me play. He said, Charles, you can't go. You can't go. You just can't go. I said, Doc, I got to go. We're down 2-0. We're down over 3 years old. I said, please, Doc, please. He said, no, Charles. So I just started screaming and crying. He said, Charles, don't do that. You're going to hurt my feelings.
5 players, including Scottie Pippen, played at least 50 minutes Sunday night, but leg cramps made Pippen a non-factor late in the game.
Well, I think basically I just didn't get enough fluids in me throughout the game. That's pretty much it. It's nothing I never experienced before, but something that I can definitely learn from.
The Bulls worked out on Monday as well, much to Michael Jordan's dismay. He said we could have used the rest. Michael was still curious as to why the Suns were so much fresher than the Bulls late in Game 3. In particular, Kevin Johnson, who played all but 20 seconds of that contest. Michael was also asked what he thought about Kevin Johnson asking Paul Westphal if he could guard Michael in this series, to which Michael replied, I hope he wants to guard me Wednesday night. From the Chicago Stadium, I'm Dan Patrick. Now back to SportsCenter.
Thank you, Dan. We'll talk more about the finals in a bit. Chicago Stadium, one of the most intimidating and dominating home courts of late, hasn't been a place of dominance or intimidation during the finals. In the last 3 final series, the Bulls have split at home and have won all but one on the road. Carl, now back to the basket. He was a rookie player in 1976, a rookie coach on Sunday night. Still, Paul Westphal said he was not thinking of his first 3 OT finals game as the second was unfolding Sunday in Chicago.
Monday, Paul wasn't dwelling on the parallels in hoop history, but our Bob Lee, very busy, placing Game 3 of 1993 with some of the great moments in the finals.
The most profound moment was the most subtle. Just before the third overtime, the game's greatest players locked eyes, exchanging grim disbelief and gleeful acceptance of this challenge to continue writing history.
Obviously, that'll probably go down in history as one of the greatest games, ranking up there at the triple overtime game that I participated in as a player in Boston. And this is better because the good guys won this time, as far as I'm concerned.
Then the moment to recall was Gar Heard's jumper that forced a third overtime, part of the historical montage of the NBA Finals. like the blue-collar ballet by Larry Bird to save a rebound and then convert it. The lunge of James Worthy to begin the Lakers' run of back-to-back titles. The hang time of Julius Erving swooping across the baseline. The inspiration of Willis Reed limping to his game's ultimate challenge. Sunday night's game was not artful. Battles of attrition rarely are. But it was full of moments, each impelling the next. First, Dan Marley's three late in the third to put Phoenix up. And another by Danny Ainge that left the Suns up 11 inside 8 minutes. Until the Bulls stormed back for a tie with 90 seconds to go.
Michael in the post, wheels to the baseline quickly, back to Horace, down for the right hand, and a foul!
Kevin Johnson's right-hand flick could have turned the game until that same hand called timeout.
He makes the steal. He throws it ahead to Marley. Oh, wow. But he called the timeout.
The epic unfolded into one overtime and then a second, where the Bulls led by 4 with 75 seconds left until Marley took aim again.
Barkley gives it to KJ. 9 seconds, 8 seconds. KJ to the right side. Over to Marley. Marley has a 20-footer. It goes. We're tied.
But the one play defining the Suns' primal scramble came on the defensive end with 2 minutes left in the third overtime.
Rebound. Oh, KJ almost had it. King does it. His pass is stolen by Barkley, and he scores. Barkley scores. He stole the Stacey King pass.
Greatest basketball game I ever played in today. Really didn't care who won or lost. I just think that for me personally, we gave everything we had. They gave everything they had, and that's the way the game should be played.
Maybe the home crowd gets tired, or maybe the tired just go home. Whatever it is, the home team has no advantage in recent overtimes. The last 5, including Sunday nights, have all been won.
For your free New Jersey travel guide.
Eyewitness News continues with Bob Lobel and New England Sports.
All right, welcome back. You know, before last night, they were the setting Suns. No one gave them a chance to win even one game against the Chicago Bulls, but they dug down deep and they found the character they needed. They went to triple overtime and they got the job done, 129-121. The Bulls lead the series 2-1 now. And the regulation, Kevin Johnson, who set a record by playing 62 minutes, steals the ball to Marley. No basket. KJ calls timeout before he made the pass. And he can only smile about it, but that's the way it was. Suns a chance to win it in regulation. Barkley playing with a sore right elbow. Gets the ball, misses the jumper. Game tied going into OT number 1. First overtime, Michael Jordan, who finished with 44. Will can his jumper. Kevin Johnson falls to the floor trying to defend. The Bulls take the lead. But the Suns come back. Tommy Chambers, 27 important minutes. He makes the lefty layup on the drive to tie the game. Time running out in the first OT. Suns a chance to win it. Kevin Johnson misses on the wild drive. Barkley rebounds, misses the baseline. Suns get the rebound out to Danny Ainge. Wide open 3. Time runs out. They go to the second overtime. Ainge gets a big hug from Barkley saying, that's all right, we have a chance. Second overtime. Thunder Dan Marley comes up big. 3 seconds left. What a shot. 18-footer tying the game at 114. And then overtime number 3, Marley, the key shot, buries a 6-3 of the night. Suns a 1-point lead. Then the Bulls, Scott Williams with a lazy pass. Barkley steps in front, playing possum, and puts in the lay-in. Suns win game 3, 129-121. The players from both teams were just thrilled to be playing in such a great game.
I don't remember seeing greater games than this growing up, and to be a part of it, that's very exhilarating. But we can't rest on this. This is just our first win. We need 3 more, and we got to get a couple here in Chicago, or else we won't get back to Phoenix. And if we don't get back to Phoenix, then it'll be over before we want it to be.
I don't think you can overlook the effort that they put on the basketball court. They put the effort out there and they won the ball game. We still had an opportunity to win, but we didn't have the effort that we had the first 2 games.
That'll probably go down in history as one of the greatest games, ranking up there with the triple overtime game that I participated in as a player in Boston. And this is better because the good guys won this time, as far as I'm concerned.
And you thought the call of the night would come out of Chicago. It doesn't. Hello and welcome to the show. Along with Mike Tirico, I'm Carl Ravitch. Basketball does return to the Windy City. Game 4, bodies were banging and nobody was backing down. The physical play taken to a new level. And speaking of levels, MJ was on a different one from everyone else, and what else is new?
Yes, Michael was challenged. Michael responded again, but what else is new? You're right. Before Sunday in triple overtime, Carl, the triple title seemed a lock. But the archivable Game 3 gets Phoenix back in it, down 2-1. It also put the pressure right back on Michael Jordan, who was rested and ready to drive to the basket and force the action in Game 4 Wednesday night at the sold-out stadium in Chicago. Would the home team win a game in the finals? Well, the Suns start quick. Good defense. Richard Dumas, the steal, takes B.J. Armstrong around the world. Dumas had 17. But the Bulls say it weak in fast break, too. Michael to B.J., who's going to lay it up, and Scotty's going to throw it down. Pippen had 14 after the hoop. KJ and BJ with some pushing, and BJ gets called for the foul. Bulls by 1 after 4, then Michael weaving through the team. Bulls by as many as 9. Closing seconds of the half, though, Dan Marley hits 2 threes, including this one with Michael in his face. The Bulls lead just 3 at the break, despite 33 from Michael Jordan, who just continued in the second half. The head fake on Marley in the fall-away. Then Jordan, the drive in the lane, everyone converges. Michael scores it with 1, and Westfall is concerned. His team frustrated. Danny Ainge, in-your-face defense by Jordan. He throws it away, and those two were face-to-face quite some time. Bulls by 5 after 3, but in the fourth, KJ took more of the offensive load despite a little bit of an injury. He scores there, but Michael 1-on-4. How many times did he do that to Paul Westfall's defense? More scuffling. Jordan and Ainge, a little elbow from Jordan, a little overreaction from Ainge. They come to blows for the second time in this game. Ainge got the fouls here, but the Suns really get close. KJ, terrific look to Barkley. 1 minute left, 2-point Bulls lead. Suns a chance to tie. KJ just plain fumbled it. BJ the steal, and in the same possession, Michael drives, draws the contact from Charles, hits the incredible shot on an incredible night for Michael Jordan, who had a second best in the finals ever. 55 points. And the Chicago Bulls, 1 win from the triple title. 111-105. Phoenix down 3-1. No one has ever come back from a 3-1 deficit to win the NBA championship. It's the first time this season the home team has won when Phoenix and Chicago play. Barkley, as you see, a triple-double, but Michael's 55, tied for second best final scoring performance, 6 shy of Elgin Baylor's record.
This game, I was just more or less trying to carry the load for the team, go to the hole, get some fouls if we can get some fouls. You know, whenever we needed a big basket, I was always there to get that big basket for them.
Michael was not bad tonight, and we're going to see if he can do it again. He probably can, but we're going to make him do it one more time before we're convinced.
He was coming. We got to do a better job of stepping up. We got to do a better job because once he gets in the air, he's going to the basket. If anybody know anything about our team, we'll be ready Friday. And we don't have to worry about it. Now people are going to throw statistics out there. Statistics don't mean jack.
Well, Chuck, we're stubborn, so we're going to throw you some stats. Game 4, inside the numbers are the inside numbers. Michael, challenged by chatter that he had lost a step, told Phil Jackson he couldn't be stopped going down the lane, then proved that with 3 times as many field goals inside, 3 times as many trips to the line as in Game 3. For more on number 4, here's Dan Patrick.
As great as Michael Jordan was offensively in Game 4, he didn't take the night off on the defensive end either.
That's what makes Michael Jordan the player that he is, Dan. He takes the defensive challenge. Tonight it was Dan Marley, who had knocked down 3 threes in the first half. Michael puts the blanket on him in the second half. He is also a great team defender.
Let's look at the reserves for both teams, because in Game 3, that was a key turning point for the Suns. When Westfall went to his bench, Tom Chambers responded. Game 4, virtually non-existent.
Yeah, the Suns bench came up empty tonight. They were a collective 5 for 19. Chambers 1 for 9. Danny Ainge 1 for 5. You've got to have more than that from your bench. The Bulls bench, in contrast, was a nice 4 for 7.
The Suns are in a familiar position right now. They were down 2 games to the Lakers, came back. Down 2 games to the Bulls, came back for a victory. They're 2 games down again as we head into Game 5.
They seem to play well in desperate situations, Dan. I don't know if they relish the opportunity, but they rise to the occasion. They'll play with huge intensity on Friday night.
For Dr. Jack Ramsey, I'm Dan Patrick. Now back to SportsCenter.
All right, men, we will have more in Game 4, highlighting the heroics of Michael's 55-point performance later in the show. Now, welcome back to SportsCenter. With Wednesday's win, Phil Jackson has now won 75% of his playoff games. That's better than any coach in league history.
It doesn't hurt when you have the sound effects or Michael Jordan scoring half the team's points. But does it hurt the team when Michael goes on one of those Jordan tears? Here's Andrea Kramer.
Michael Jordan admitted he often plays too hard early in big games and can't find his rhythm. Such was not the problem in Game 4. His intention was to get easier baskets, and 22 of his 42 points from the field came in the paint after he spotted a Suns weakness he felt he could exploit.
I think after watching the tape on Tuesday and this morning, he said, I'm not going to be denied. They got no one in there that can block my shot. I'm going to go in there and complete when I get an opportunity tonight.
Well, I picked and choose my times to penetrate. When the court seems to be open, that's when I was trying to do that. I didn't really allow myself to, or allow the situation to get it within a set. Once we got in a set, the defense was alert. I did a lot of my penetration when the defense was not alert.
Marley, Dumas, and KJ each took turns guarding Jordan, and once he made one of them commit, he either came away with the basket or the foul. In fact, Jordan went to the line 18 times in Game 4. In the 3 previous games combined, he made only 15 trips to the charity stripe.
Once he started going, and then, after a while, the don't touch Michael rule came into effect. So, even if we tried to step up, he's very good at moving his body like contortionist in the air.
We played everybody on him, and he just was able to get to the basket too easy on everybody, on our whole team. When Michael's going like he's going, it's obviously everybody's responsibility to have a half an eye on him and half an eye on their man.
Jordan produced the 7th 50-plus scoring game of his playoff career, yet the Suns still came perilously close to winning. Was it because the other Bulls didn't step up with the same aggressiveness, or because Jordan tried to handle the scoring load by himself?
The main thing is that we won. And, in order to win the next game, we can't allow Michael to take over like that, so to speak.
I would rather see everybody involved, and I'm sure Michael would too, but a win is a win, and I'll take it any way we can get it.
What about the Chicago Bulls? Well, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player on the planet, and who's to say he's not the best that ever played the game? Last night, all he did was pour home 55 eye-popping points, including that game-clinching, hanging, leaning hoop plus the foul. That was the dagger in the hearts of the Phoenix Suns in the last few seconds last night. Michael was everything last night. Here's some vintage highlights, beating Dan Marley off the dribble, throwing it down. At one point in the second, he scored 16 straight for Chicago. His 55, the second highest total in the history of the NBA in the finals. He had a subpar shooting effort in Game 3, but he came out on fire. Bulls with a 13-point lead, but the Suns hung tough, made a big run late in the ballgame. Kevin Johnson with the dish to Sir Charles. They trailed by 2. Barkley had 32 for Phoenix. Bulls with the ball. This was a key play. Barkley with the steal of the Pippen pass. He advances to KJ. Phoenix 2-on-1 for the tie. But watch Scottie Pippen race out of nowhere to knock it away from Marley. Here's another look at a key defensive play in the ballgame. One that went underrated. Suns get the ball out of bounds. Less than a half minute to play. But B.J. Armstrong picks it away. And here's that play I was talking about. Michael Jordan around Kevin Johnson. Look at him lean. Look at him hang. Look at him flip. 111-105. 1 W away from the magic three-peat.
I think my best games have been always the last game. Because once the last game is over, we got the championship. This is just a prelude to the last game. And, I think this is a very important game. And, I consider it one of my greatest games. But I've yet to see the greatest game. Hopefully it comes next game.
If anybody know anything about our team, we'll be ready Friday. And we don't have to worry about it. Now people are going to throw statistics out there. Statistics don't mean jack. We're down 3-1. We got to win Friday night.
They put some time on the clock. 14 and 4/10 of a second now remaining in this fourth quarter.
And what the official is saying is that there was a shot clock violation first that took place, then the timeout.
And they just made another adjustment. 14 and 1/10 seconds remaining. Well, the Suns have shot only 41% from the field, but they have done it at the foul line. 30 of 36. They've also done it with 17 offensive rebounds. However, the Suns, with a chance to ice the game, have missed 6 of their last 7 shots. So the Bulls have been able to come back. In this fourth quarter, though, Chicago with a mere 9 points. They've been outscored 19-9. The NBA Finals record fewest points in the fourth quarter, 13. Michael Jordan has scored all 9 Chicago points here in the fourth. 9 of his 33. The Suns by 2. It has come down to this possession.
They want Michael to get a full head of steam, try to keep him in the middle of the floor.
Well, Pippen got the step. Here's Paxson for 3. Yes! The Bulls take a 1-point lead, and Phoenix calls for time with 3 and 9/10 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. John Paxson converts a 3-pointer in Chicago 99 and Phoenix 98.
They've done this at least 3 or 4 times in the game. Penetrated and thrown backwards to a man rotating back to a spot-up area. There's the man, John Paxson. Grant gets the ball out to the right man at the right spot, and from the time it leaves his hand, it's perfect rotation on the basketball. He feels it, the team loves it, as they run back to the bench on the timeout.
And that is an NBA Finals record 10th three-pointer by Chicago. They've hit 10 of 14 from three-point land. For Paxson, his second. He hit 4 in Game 5. And now Paul Westphal setting it up with 3 and 9/10 seconds to go. We'll be right back. Are over the foul limit. Oliver Miller checking in. It's Miller, Marley, Barkley, Ainge, and Johnson on the floor.
Charles Barkley has made a number of gigantic shots from the middle of the floor, top of the circle area. That's where they like to get him. He loves stepping back right from there and shooting a jumper. He must have won a half-dozen games in Philadelphia with shots at the end from that area.
For the Suns, the season has come down to this, and now they take the delay of game. So another look for Phil Jackson.
Sneak preview on what they were trying to run. Now a substitution. Phil Jackson brings John Paxson into the basketball game. They want him to match up on Ainge. They want Williams out for a more mobile defensive team.
3, 9/10 seconds to go. Evan Johnson will inbound. Oliver Miller plays it. Here's Johnson. Johnson gets, no, he could not get it off. Knocked away by Grant. It's all over. The Chicago Bulls have made it 3 straight NBA championships. A 3-point shot by John Paxson, the game winner. The Bulls with a record low, only 12 points. In the fourth quarter, that is a NBA Finals record low, but it was enough.
Michael Jordan, when that buzzer went off, first jumped so high, but immediately had the presence to chase the basketball down into the crowd. Whoever had picked it up, he wanted that basketball, signifying the 3rd World Championship in a row, and he went after it and got it.
And Paul Westphal heads back to the locker room. A disappointing finish for the Suns, who had rallied and taken the lead but could not put it away. And Horace Grant, a man who has struggled the last 2 games, he comes up with the block to conclude matters.
Talk about the block. He did the last 2 things that mattered the most. He threw the pass back out to John Paxson for the shot. He gets that assist. He gets the block on that last shot attempt to preserve the victory.
So the Chicago Bulls have accomplished something that has not been done in 27 years. They have become only the 3rd team in NBA history to win 3 in a row. No team has done it. In the last 26 years, only the Minneapolis Lakers and the Boston Celtics have won 3 straight titles. The 2 most recent teams to attempt it, the 1989 Lakers, the 1991 Pistons, both falling short, and this crowd has been stunned by that finish.
It goes back to the timeout where the Chicago coaches put the ball in Jordan's hands. You thought he was going to take it the length of the floor, but instead they suddenly flashed Scottie Pippen up to the top of the circle. Pippen takes it off the dribble, heads to the basket, kicks out to Grant, who could have gone up strong to try and tie the game. Instead, Grant has the presence to throw the ball back out to a wide-open John Paxson. No one can get to him in time, and that champion's attitude. Go for the win rather than the tie on the road. So give Horace Grant credit for turning and kicking out. And then, when it seems that he's beat, the recovery by Grant to block the shot from behind Kevin Johnson's head. Michael Jordan jumps, but then says, I want this basketball. He is off into the stands right now, gathering the basketball.
And shades of Game 5, the Bulls against the Knicks, with Charles Smith having the 4 opportunities to convert, and the Bulls with the combination of Grant and Pippen were able to stop Smith. They come up with the defensive play right here. Michael Jordan, the high man, with 33. Charles Barkley had 21 along with 17 rebounds, and the Bulls are still undefeated at America West Arena. They won during the course of the regular season, and they won 3 straight in the playoffs. What an unusual series this has been, with the Bulls winning the first 2 here in Phoenix, and then Chicago having their problems at home. Phoenix winning 2 out of 3 at Chicago Stadium.
Well, we have played this scene before, and amid the bedlam of the visitors' locker room in Phoenix, we have virtually the entire roster of the 3-time champions, and David Stern will attempt to make the presentation. Go ahead, Commissioner.
3-time NBA World Champion Chicago Bulls. Congratulations. It's a great accomplishment.
Michael will allow you to speak first on behalf of your teammates.
Well, I think everybody put their effort out there. You know, from Corey Williams to Ed Neal, all the guys that were going to injury reserve. You know, this is a hard-fought three-peat. You know what I mean? It took a lot of work. A lot of times it looked kind of dim, but we stuck in there, we hung together as a team, and, you know, this is the reward of what the hard work does for you.
Thank you. The crowd here kind of blocks us from seeing the monitor. We'll try, but until Pax's winning 3-pointer, you had all the points for the Bulls in the 4th quarter.
I knew Pax was going to make that. I just knew it whenever he got it. It was a great draw in. And, you know, for my part, I just try to do whatever I can. I hope you enjoy it, Bob. It feels good right now.
Is it joy, or is it relief, or is it a combination? This has been a great year, but a tough year.
It's both. You know, it's a relief. Plus, it's great to win. You know, I think we've gone through a lot. Me, personally, I've gone through a lot of ups and downs, but to cap it off this way means a lot to me, believe me.
I hate to make you look ahead, but you've talked about retirement in a year or 2. Could you step aside if the streak is still intact?
No. You know, my love is strong for this game right now. That's how I'm looking at it, and I'm going to be here as long as my love is strong.
We're going to roll in some of the plays from the 4th quarter. I don't know if we'll be able to see them. Try and make a little space here, guys, for Michael to take a look. And the one that I'd specifically like to talk about, and we'll get to it in a minute, would be your last basket. They're up by 4 when Frankie Johnson misses a jump shot, and they let you go the length of the floor. Used up very little time, and they never touched you.
I don't think anybody saw me. You know, I think once I got the rebound, everybody was running to the 3-point shooters. You know, I just kept putting pressure on the defense. And right before I get to go to the basket for the layup, Scottie Pippen grabs Marley, which you can't get to the basket and try to stop me. So that was a big play.
Now, on the last play, you had to give it up in the backcourt. Never touched it in shooting range. Pippen gave it to Horace and then back to Pax.
Well, the plan was to get the ball to me, get it to Scottie, and cut off of Scottie. If I can get the ball back, get the ball back. But he turned it around, gave it to Horace, and then Horace kicked it back out to Paxson. And once I saw Paxson get the basketball, I knew it was good.
Where is John Paxson? Where is Pax? Move him in here.
Way to go, Pax.
A couple of years ago, you scored 10 points on clutch jumpers in Los Angeles and what turned out to be the winner. You had a big 4th quarter against Portland as well in the 6th game last year, and now the shot that wins the championship.
Yeah, this is a dream. What can I say? Maybe we were the ones destined to win after all. What a great feeling. I can't describe what I feel.
Before we continue, Michael, I know you want to jump down. this has been in many ways your year with the Dream Team and with the certification in the minds of most now as the greatest to ever play the game. A final thought on what this means to you and your team.
Well, I think it means a lot to us. I mean, because we make history. Very few teams have done this. You know, especially when so much parity in the league right now. This is a major accomplishment for the franchise and for the team. And, you know, for me personally, you know, I think it was something that I was looking forward to separate myself from Magic and Bird. They never did it, and I did it. So that makes me, you know, feel special, I believe it.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, let's go back to Pax. When it left your hand, your thoughts? I mean, you had the stroke going, no doubt about it.
I don't know. I mean, that's instinct. You catch and you shoot. I've done it hundreds of thousands of times in my life. So Horace gave me a good pass. We struggled that fourth quarter. I'm just glad I could do something about it.
You were spotting up the whole play. That was obvious. You just went to that spot.
Right. I was going to stay behind the three-point line in case something happened and the ball just fell into Horace's hands. I got it. Unbelievable. I'm glad Chicago's got a third one. We're a city of champions.
Congratulations,
Thank you,
John.
Bob. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll be back and we'll talk with Phil Jackson. Oh, wait, Michael has an additional thought. Go ahead.
This is for Jasmine, my sweet little daughter. Who you with? Happy birthday, Jazz!
And happy Father's Day to Michael Jordan.
Everybody in there.
All right, Trent Tucker's here, Darrell Walker, Horace Grant, Bill Cartwright, Scottie Pippen. We'll talk with the coach, Phil Jackson. But first, let's go over to the Phoenix locker room. Paul Westphal is with Hannah Storm.
Coach, a great effort by your team, and you came so close to taking this to a seventh game. Can you describe what happened on the final play when John Paxson sunk the three-pointer?
Well, it was just a spread court situation. They tried to take it to the basket, and Mark West had to leave Horace Grant to go help on the penetration, and Danny Ainge thought that he might be able to pick the pass off. And instead of throwing it to Grant, he turned and passed it back to Pippen, who was wide open. I mean, back to Paxson, who was wide open. Seemed like that ball was in the air for about an hour, and he made the shot. It's a great shot. You got to give him credit. It is something every kid dreams about, and John Paxson got to live that dream out.
Coach, what about the dreams of your team? I know that they are very disappointed. What did you tell them after the loss?
Well, I wasn't real articulate. I just told them that I was very proud of them, that they gave me everything that they had, and that they lost to a great team.
Thanks, Coach. Congratulations on a great season in your first year. And we'll see you next year. Bob?
All right, thank you, Hannah. We just heard Paul Westphal say, Phil, we lost to a great team. I think it was better, for history's sake, now that you got it, that they proved to be such a stern test.
Well, we never could get a hold of this basketball club. You know, we've always been able to defend somebody, put the claws on them, and hold them down. We couldn't hold this team down. They found ways to squiggle out, and they came back at you all the time. We had a nice lead. All of a sudden, their defense took over in the fourth quarter. We were so fortunate to come out of that game with an opportunity to win.
You know, you scored 12 points in the fourth quarter. That's the lowest fourth quarter in a final since the advent of the 24-second clock, and you got away with it.
Isn't that amazing? We got away in one. We had 5 points with 3-something left on the clock. I told the guys, we'll find a way to win. We'll get this thing over. If you'll play defense, we'll do it. And they did it. It's great.
How tough was this year for you with Michael and Scottie coming off the Dream Team, guys tired, perhaps mentally as well as physically?
Well, we submitted a record for the fact that we wanted guys healthy in the playoffs, and it worked for us. And when you got Scottie and Michael and Horace and the guys that have played together as a crew, you got a great chance to win the playoffs. Those are great guys to coach, regardless of the energy level. We might have coasted a little bit this year, but we had to, and we got away with it. We came into the playoffs full bore, ready to go.
I know talk about all-time great teams is a parlor game, but you played on one of them in the Knicks and against great teams of that era, and you coached one of them and against them, so you have a good perspective. Where does this club rank?
Well, with Michael Jordan, you just step above everybody else because he's got such a will to win. He's so competitive. He helps everybody else to the nth degree. And that's what makes this team very, very special is they've got a leader that's a great competitor. They've got some great veterans like a Paxson, a Bill, and Horace, and Scottie that fit together well, and BJ came on this year. And some guys off the bench that play their role. But he has lifted us to another level.
So the Suns made you miss the Grateful Dead concert in Chicago this weekend, but in a sense, it's a Grateful Dead here. Grateful for the title and probably dead tired, huh?
You bet. They've been playing for 30 years. I can see them the next 30 years, too.
Congratulations, Phil.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, let's turn here to Horace Grant. Certainly offensively not a factor in the last couple of games, but the key block toward the end with Kevin Johnson on the final play, and we'll try to clear the monitor here so Horace can get a look at it, and the pass out to Pax for the winner.
Well, our free throw shooting wasn't going right, but there's the block right there. You know, I just wanted to get a hand up, and I got the ball.
Did Barkley wear you out playing him at the defensive end? Did that hurt you offensively?
I mean, I'm not an offensive player now, but, Barkley, Gordon Barkley, it really would wear anybody out. It had a toll on me at the end.
Scottie Pippen, you sliced down the lane on that last possession. It looked like the shot might have been yours. Then Horace was open, baseline, and he kicked it back out.
Well, I felt like the Horace was going to be open. I felt like his man was stepping in the lane, and I gave him the ball. I thought he was going to take it and finish it, but John Paxson was right there wide open. What more can you say?
No one can ever be the #1 guy on this team except Michael Jordan, but in 2 consecutive clinchers, the fourth quarter against Portland in Game 6 last year in Chicago, and here with the 23 points on the 12 boards, you have made a key contribution, and in the Knicks series, you came up big when it was needed. So you've established yourself at a certain level.
Our main focus is to go out and play hard and play our game and do what you can do on the court. Michael's going to be Michael. Michael's going to get his 40, 50 points, but the rest of us contributed. We can do what we accomplished today. And tell me the truth, did we just win 3?
You just won 3. Got to ask you one last thing. Barkley was really woofing at you. What was being said?
Well, he was talking trash, telling me, you guys going to be here to Wednesday. You guys going to be here to Wednesday. You want to come over for dinner? So I'm going to invite him to Chicago for dinner. Chicago!
Let's turn to Bill Cartwright. At age 35, now the 3rd in a row, they must become more and more precious because the sand is moving through the hourglass.
Oh, no question. It's just unbelievable. A lot of pressure on us to win, to get it done. They're really kind of loose. And I'll tell you, just an unbelievable effort. Huge shot by Pax to get it done. And here we are.
You played countless basketball games. You can tell us the truth about this one. When they had the ball up by 4 and less than a minute to go, do you think you were coming back here Wednesday?
There was a little doubt, but, anytime you have Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Pax was shooting the tar of the basketball, we got a big chance. So this was a huge game for us and for me, and I'm thrilled to death. I want to say hello to my boys back home and my daughter, Kristen.
And a happy Father's Day as Will Perdue does the dowsing of Bill Cartwright. Let's go over to the other side. Much different atmosphere. KJ with Hannah Storm.
Kevin, it was such a competitive series, perhaps even more competitive than the final records will indicate, 4 games to 2. What was the difference in the end, do you think, between the 2 teams?
I thought this last ball game was a great ball game. I thought it could have went either way. They got a pretty big cushion for 3 quarters, but we hung in there, cut the lead down in the 4th quarter, and they just made some big shots when they needed it. And certainly they deserve it, and you got to give them a lot of credit.
KJ, a lot of people made the incorrect assumption that the NBA Finals will be played in the East between the Knicks and the Bulls. Do you think that the Phoenix Suns, by the way that they played in the Finals, gained a measure of respect?
Well, I think our play spoke for itself. We're not satisfied with coming up short, but this is our first go run with the guys that we have on this team. And one thing's for sure, Charles is not going to retire now. We won't let him.
And you won't either.
No, you're right.
Okay, KJ, we'll see you next season. Bob?
All right, from KJ to BJ, and you guys had a personal duel throughout this series.
Well, it was a challenge. If you want to be the best, you have to play against the best. And Kevin is a great guard. He's earned a lot of respect in this league, and I've accepted the challenge, and I'm just glad that we prevailed as a team.
You got a chance to start this year, and even with Pax's return, you stayed in the lineup, and you've managed on a team full of stars, a team that has Michael Jordan, to establish an identity of your own. Did you doubt that you'd be able to do that in the NBA?
No, I didn't. I never doubted that I could do it. I know it's going to be very tough. I know I had to come out and work hard and overcome a lot of challenges this year, but the guys stuck with me, and that was the most important thing, and I'm just glad it all worked out for the best.
BJ, congratulations.
Thank you, Bob.
We want to note that Charles Barkley has declined to speak with us. He is in the shower, and he is very disappointed, and we're going to have to leave the air now without hearing from Sir Charles. So the wrap-up here is pretty simple. The Bulls have three-peated. The nucleus of their club still fairly young. They still have the desire. Next year they'll try and come back perhaps and become the Quad Squad. For Marv Albert and Mike Fratello, Quinn Buckner, Vesey, Walton, Hannah Storm, Ahmad Rashad, I'm Bob Costas. So long from Phoenix.
Continues with Bob Lobel and New England Sports.
All right, they're the champs again. This was a pretty good ball game, but how many games would they win against the 86 Celtics? And how many games would they win against the 87 Lakers? I guess we'll never know, but we can always talk about it. Three-peat, and you know something? The three-point play with 9 seconds left was the big one. John Paxson nails it, and the Bulls nail their 3rd straight championship and seal their place in NBA history. The Suns are running and gunning early. Barkley beating Dan Marley for the laying off to break this game. Seesawed back and forth early on, but the Bulls open up an 11-point lead in the second. MVP Michael Jordan with one of his three-pointers in the first half. Danny Ainge will find Charles Barkley and he'll find the jam. 21 points and 17 boards for Sir Charles in a losing effort. Chicago's lead was cut to 5 at the half. Tom Chambers seeing some rare action, making some big plays. Suns stayed close early in the third, possibly his last game in the Suns uniform. With the Bulls another run, opening up a 10-point lead. B.J. Armstrong to Pippen down low. 23 for Pippen. The Bulls up 8 after 3, but the Suns came all the way back. Marley's 3, 5 minutes left in the game. 91-90 Phoenix. And when Kevin Johnson drives in and throws up the runner, the Suns were up with 4 with less than 3 minutes, and the Phoenix bench was celebrating. Perhaps too soon with 40 seconds left. Michael Jordan allowed to drive in untouched, pulling Chicago within 2. No defense in that play and almost no time used. Dan Marley put up an air ball with 14 seconds left. What was this all about? What was that? Chicago had a chance to tie it up or better.
And Pippen got the step. Here's Paxson for 3. Yes! The Bulls take a 1-point lead and Phoenix.
John Paxson with the biggest of the Bulls three-pointers tonight. 10 threes for Chicago, an NBA Finals record. The Suns had one last chance, but Horace Grant would swat the ball away when KJ tries to drive. The Bulls with a 99-98 win for their 3rd straight title.
We feel we must be considered one of the best teams ever. Personally, I mean, individual goal was that Magic, Bird, Isaiah never did this. So that meant a lot to me to do it for the 3rd time, yes. You know, I won't say that I'm better than those people, but I think in terms of success, continuous and consistently, that puts me right up there with them, if not, you know, a step above them. You know, so I'm not here campaigning for the best player in the world or in the history. I'm not saying that, you know, because everybody plays differently in different eras. But to say that we won 3 in a row and I was a part of that team, that means a lot to me.
Thursday, welcome to the big hour edition of Sports Center. Along with Keith Olbermann, I am Chris Fowler.
The last 2 times the U.S. Open was at Baldwin in Jersey, the incumbent NBA champions were knocked off in the playoffs by their eventual successors as champs, with the Bulls fall victim to a different kind of three-peat. The golf picture in a moment, but first, we start with the hoops.
And the second classic game of this year's finals has produced, the triple overtime game being the other. This was no Bulls stampede into Phoenix. And going back to Phoenix for Game 6, the Bulls were at a crossroads between either history-making triumph or history-making collapse. It was the Suns that seemed the fresher, more confident team, even though they hadn't been able to beat the Bulls at home all season. With Chicago's bubble burst with a Game 7 before us. Well, in the first quarter, both teams come out shooting hot. B.J. Armstrong hits 1 3. Hits another. He was 4 for 5 from behind the line tonight. Michael Jordan, the 3-ball. Bulls up by 11 after a quarter. Tom Chambers coming off the 1 minute in Game 5. Played stronger game tonight. The reverse dunk. Suns down only 2. Later in the second quarter, Scotty, the explosive first step. The dunk over Barkley. Bulls by 5 at the break. Third quarter, Jordan against KJ. Reduced to a jump shooter, but hits this baseline shot. The Bulls would build the lead back to 10. KJ would help bring them back. The penetration, the foul on Armstrong, it counts. Still a 7-point Chicago lead, though. Early in the fourth, Barkley, the fake, the drive ties the game at 88. The Suns had the crowd. They had momentum. The next possession, Jordan answers a short jumper in the lane, but he would have to work for his points. Bulls by 2. Then the Suns answer. Marley, the deep 3. He had 21. Phoenix had a 1-point lead. Suns played strong defense in the fourth quarter. The Bulls were tentative. No rhythm on offense. 3 24-second clock violations for Chicago in the fourth quarter. Westfall pumped. 40 seconds to go, though. No defense for this. They just part. Michael with a vintage drive pulls the Bulls back within 2. He had all 9 points at that point in the fourth quarter for Chicago. Still down 2. The penetration to Grant, to an open Paxson. The legacy of his career may be clinching shots from behind the three-point line. Did it 2 years ago against the Lakers. 4 seconds to go, though, for the Suns. And KJ with the penetration. The seemingly open shot, but Horace Grant recovers, makes the rejection. So Grant, for the second consecutive game, no field goals, but 2 big plays. The embrace between Jordan and Barkley, and the historical three-peat for Chicago. The first team in 27 years to win 3 straight titles. Only the 3rd team in history, the Lakers in Minneapolis, and of course the Celtics. The Lakers in Minneapolis, and of course the Celtics. The Bulls 10 of 14 threes. They had only 12 points in the fourth quarter, all-time low in the finals. Pippen 23, Michael 33, Charles 7 of 18 for 21 points. The Bulls won this championship as they have the previous two by winning on the road. 8-1 in the last 3 finals on the road. Notice the defense. They play better defense. They are hungrier away from home, and that is an amazing mark. 8-1 in the last 3 finals. Michael Jordan, his own personal three-peat, MVP for the 3rd consecutive year. He spoke with Dan Patrick minutes ago.
Thanks and welcome back to the America West Arena, where the Suns couldn't keep their date with destiny, but the Bulls and Michael Jordan kept their date with history. Are you relieved or are you exhilarated?
Both. You know, I think it's been a long, long fight, 3 years of winning 3 championships, and you know, so much was expected of this team. We expected a lot for ourselves, and it was a dogfight. You know, we didn't expect it to be this hard, but you know, we hung in there, and you know, it's so exhilarating now, and you know, I think it's so gratifying.
Take me back to the final timeout, the play that's designed, and how it ends up in Paxson.
It was so funny. You know, Phil seemed so nervous, and I wiped his face. I said, "You all right, partner?" So he went back with the play, and he said we're going to take a full court. I was going to get the ball full court, penetrate. We were thinking of 2, just tying the game up. Scotty was going to flash to the wall. I throw him the ball, and I cut either right or left. He's going to give me the ball back. I go to the hole. But I cut right. You know, Marley was right there, or KJ, whichever. And he spins back to his right and penetrates, hits Horace. Horace just missed the layup about 5 minutes before that, so he didn't have no confidence. He kicks it back out to Paxson. When I saw Paxson shoot it, I mean, I've seen him make so many shots when we really, really needed it.
Did you raise your hands?
I just knew it was going in, and you know, it was just a matter of playing 3.9 worth of solid defense.
You look back now, and I'm sure that there was so much pressure on you guys, and people keep asking you, did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy it? Are you surprised that people keep asking you?
Yeah, I think, you know, people were, I mean, how can you be in this circumstance of trying to make history and you're not enjoy it? I think we were disappointed because we did not go back to Chicago and, you know, close it out like we wanted to. Naturally, that's going to be disappointing, but I think everybody was having fun. Everybody was happy that we were in this predicament to win a 3rd title. But everyone was trying to make us think that we were not happy, and we were happy. We were having a lot of fun, but it's no fun when you lose. And I'm pretty sure they were not fun in the first 2 games either. So.
Phil said he didn't have enough energy to fly back to Chicago. Do you feel like a marathon runner who's hit the wall?
I've hit the wall. I don't want to see a basketball. I don't want to see a referee. I don't want to see the media. I don't want to see anybody but my kids and my wife at home.
I know it's a special Father's Day for you, but when you look back at the missed opportunity in Chicago, does that spoil it at all that you didn't do it in front of the home folks?
Yeah, but, I mean, it's tough. And they found out today, it's tough to win at home because you got so many distractions. You got to worry about how many tickets you get. You got to worry about, you know, where you're going to party after the game, worry about the fans, and if they're going to tear up the place. I mean, it was so many problems to think about that it just took us away from what we were trying to accomplish in Chicago. So I'm happy that we came on the road and we did it on the road.
Will you sit down with your wife and look at what your future is in the game?
I will. I mean, I spent the whole summer just, you know, enjoying this and, you know, watching my kids and see what happens for next year.
I know you want to play a lot of golf, and you're tired of seeing us in your face. Congrats.
Thanks, partner.
Michael Jordan, best player in the game. We don't know if they're the best team ever, but they've got a 3-peat to show for it. From Michael Jordan, I'm Dan Patrick. Now back to SportsCenter.
We'll have to come up with a new phrase. 4-peat really doesn't. Quad-peat, maybe? There's the superstar comparison. Jordan, a new record for points per game in a final. He scored 1 more point in a 6-game series than Rick Barry did for San Francisco back in '67. Barkley, a noble effort. The Suns will make some offseason moves. Wouldn't be surprised to see him back next year. We'll go back to Phoenix for more post-game reaction and analysis throughout the show. Winners and still champions, the Chicago Bulls, completing the 3-peat. They were staggering, stumbling down the stretch until John Paxson bailed them out.
Speaking of John Paxson, he's in Phoenix with our Dan Patrick. Dan?
It will go down in history as one of the biggest shots in NBA history. Now, you can be a genius now and say that's the way the coach designed it. You were supposed to take the 3, right?
No, actually, it's a play we run, and we call it an open, where we give Michael the opportunity to have space on the floor. And it's a 2-point game. We'd like him to get to the basket, either get a layup, score the basket, tie the game, or draw a foul and get to the foul line. But their defense converged, and as defensive players, when you see a guy penetrate like that, your first reaction is to go to the lane. And when Horace caught the ball and fumbled it, he just looked out, and there I was. So, and it's a shot that's what I practiced for most of my life, and I knocked it down.
I know you've been bothered by the sore knee. Could it conceivably be the last shot you would take in the NBA?
No, I've got another year left anyway, so...
I know you've been hobbling through the series.
Yeah, I have, all year, actually, and it's tough, and it's been frustrating for me from that standpoint, because I think a lot of people have gotten down on me for the fact that I haven't performed like I would like to and they would like to see me. But this series, I came up with some big shots, and that should bring me back for another year anyway.
Why did they wait until the finals to showcase you? You did this against the Lakers.
It's a secret plan. Save me till the finals and we'll see what happens.
Great.
Thank you.
John,
Appreciate
congrats. Dr. Jack Ramsey joins us. Now, you coached John's brother Jim in Portland, so you're not surprised at his type of antics from the family, right?
No, I have full confidence in John as well as Jim. Jim would have made the shot just as well as John.
When you look at what the Chicago Bulls have accomplished, everybody kept saying, are they a great team? Are they a great team? Now we have a chance to analyze them. They've won 3 in a row. Great team or great player on a good team?
Well, I think it's a team, Dan, that has accomplished a lot of things. Win 3 in a row, that's a quality of greatness. But ranking them among the great teams of all time, I would say not. Last period, Michael Jordan and John Paxson are the only guys who score, and Michael has 9 of the 12, and the team has 3 turnovers where they don't get a shot. I don't think that's among the greatest teams of all time.
All right. Dr. Jack, John Paxson, I'm Dan Patrick. Now back to the studio.
The ugly side of winning a sports championship, whatever the city is, whatever country it is, unfolding in Chicago, although the crowds appear to be much thinner than the areas last year, where $10 million in damage was caused by rioting and looting. Public service announcements had begged for calm on the streets. You see some objects being thrown here and some police officers suffering minor injuries, but not the degree of rioting that was a year ago when the Bulls clinched at home.
Of course, the Chicago contingent in Phoenix is nothing but happy, and throughout the playoffs, the talk about Jerry Krause had been negotiations for players for next year, specifically Tony Kukoc. But in fact, after the victory, after the three-peat, Krause wanted to talk about one of his old acquisitions, a fellow named Paxson.
Thank you, Angelo Drosos. That was the best $100,000 we ever spent. It was 8 years ago, and thank God for that. It was just the best move we ever made. Of all the moves we've made, one of the first ones we made 8 years ago was getting John Paxson for $100 grand.
It was definitely the toughest one. They took us all the way to the wire, and this has got to be ranked among one of the best games I've ever been in.
We didn't think there would be that much pressure. Having done it twice, we felt, oh, we can relax and go out there and play now. But, you know, it was almost as much the pressure just continued to build with the expectations of winning the 3rd title. You know, we got people in Chicago making commercials, a minimum 8-peat. You know, that's outrageous.
Deep down, we feel like, I'm not going to sit and say we're better than the Bulls, but I think we feel like we're just as good as they are. I think if in the 4 games we lost, hypothetically, we could have won in any one of the games.
True, but small consolation. The Bulls are not going to be a team that stands pat. You mentioned Kukoc. They won't get him for $100 grand. Sorry, Jerry. But there will be some turnover. Some veterans will leave that team. They're not going to stand pat and make the same mistakes that some other teams have.
And an ironic statistic here. Both teams ended with 640 points in the finals.